Welcome to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. In this episode, we'll be listening to Rebuilding School Relationships Without Librarians that was presented at Children's Institute 2026 in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Good morning, everybody. All my fellow Gen Xers, how are your bodies feeling after your 80s dancing? I know it's retro for the rest of you, but for us, it's lived experience. Your bodies don't feel the same as they did after the junior high school dances. Welcome, everybody. We are here to talk about rebuilding school relationships without librarians, which we're all dealing with in our communities all over the country. Really quickly, we'll go over our antitrust guidelines. We all know that we are not allowed to be able to, we want to share our ideas, but not talk about price or pricing policies, boycotts, and dividing up the market. I don't think we'll have any issues with this particular talk about that. Housekeeping, you have you can scan the QR code for slides and handouts. Tell us how we did in the survey. Recordings will be on BookWeb. And there will be some things, I hope, in the images that might help you also later on. Silence your cell phones. And we are going to try to allow for questions throughout. So when we get onto a topic, because everyone's going to have different lived experiences, if you want to speak up to something that's happening in your community that we're not touching on, then please feel free to do that. And before we do that, let's just introduce ourselves. My name is Bryn Lopez. I'm the manager of Children's Book World in Los Angeles. I am almost 38 years selling children's books. So a long time. And we'll...
Hi, I'm Allie Sussmat. I am at Changing Hands Bookstore in Phoenix and Tempe, Arizona. I have been a bookseller for 6 years, and I am the children's book buyer and department manager for the last 3.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Ingersoll. I'm from Spoken Word Books, right outside of Portland, Oregon. I'm a co-owner and operations manager. I was like, don't forget your job. Don't forget your job. Don't forget what you do.
So we're going to start with the changing school landscape and talk about how understanding the loss of librarians in the schools is impacting our work, but also impacting the community at large. And Allie, you want to start talking about something that's important to you?
Yeah, I think that a lot of us in this room are facing some of the same things. Around our Tempe store, a school district has cut all librarian positions as of this fall. And we have throughout our state other districts that are either closing libraries completely on elementary and junior high campuses and just moving to whatever books are available in the school already, or having teachers kind of self-direct a library experience for their kids. So we've just seen so many different positions around schools and libraries and our partnerships as a bookstore and how do we get our authors there change. And we are navigating this actively going into this fall school season.
Bonnie, what's impacting your community?
Similar to Allie's. We have seen the elimination of certified librarians out of the school district that we're in, which is North Clackamas School District. And there's like one librarian to oversee them all, but not in like the fun Lord of the Rings way. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of that. And we're seeing a lot of people enter these media tech positions that have little to no experience or maybe even affinity for books. They might like kids. That I don't know what the criteria is. So very similar to that, to Allie as well.
I want to talk about the impact that ICE is having on our communities. So when ICE is doing these raids, and they're happening even if it's not like the major cities that are experiencing this happening in Minneapolis or in Portland or in Los Angeles or Boston, it's also happening when you don't even realize it. And it is happening at schools. And what's happening are parents, whether they are undocumented or they might look like they could be from a culture that is undocumented, they're keeping their kids at home because they're afraid that their kids will actually be taken. They could be taken. And the minute that enrollment goes down, the budgets are cut. Doesn't happen the next school year. It happens immediately. And when that happens, the board and the district are not cutting any of their administrative positions and their own salaries. They're cutting nurses, they're cutting library techs, they're cutting librarians. So you're losing your librarians every day, right now, and it's only going to get worse going into the election season in the fall. So everybody needs to be prepared for what that means in your community, and also how you can be a partner to be able to help them if this sort of situation occurs. One other thing that I notice is happening, and maybe people can comment about this too. We'd love to hear if there's something else that's going on in your community as well. But also, I'm noticing there are now a lot of parents within the parent-teacher organization that are taking the role and responsibility of the librarian or the person who's getting the books. So does anyone else out there want to talk about things that are impacting their community?
It's the school boards for us. It all turned to the Moms for Liberty. And we had that very sorry.
I think this is important because some of us are in where we're still impacted, but we're in communities where we are not having to face every single day people coming into your stores and turning your books over, or people. So talk to us about that.
Okay, so
and where your store is.
Okay, we're in Wisconsin, and we're in between Madison and Milwaukee, and it's a conservative. We're in Waukesha County. And so it's the Moms for Liberty that have moved in, and just the amount of money that is spent on the school board elections in our county is stunning. It could pay for all of the libraries for years. And so the school boards are just pushing for elimination, the self-censoring of books, and they're removing the library positions.
So when these librarians say, oh, did somebody else have something else to say? Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, at Quail Ridge Books. We face a lot of the same problems with the Moms of Liberty and kind of having a large influence on our school board. But one of the things that they have passed in our district recently is that the principal has to sign off on every single book that is coming into the library, and all of the events and there's very strict restrictions on the librarian basically no longer has the power to add the books to the library. And the principals, whether or not they do care, they don't have time. So will sit on quotes for months, if not an entire year, and then place half of it or a third of it for what the librarian needs in their library.
We're experiencing that as well. Arizona has a 90-day kind of review period for any book that is going into a school. It has 90 days for anybody to pose a challenge. There has been people from outside of our state that just watch those lists, and they just sit there in Florida and just like challenge. But also, due to how often that happens, what we're seeing now and what we're hearing from our librarians is they are self-censoring. They're not even getting the quotes. They're not even putting together those book lists anymore because they just know they're not going to get passed. And so we're hearing more and more, oh, I love that book. It'll never get passed in our school, so we can't have it. Oh, I love that author. They will never get approved, so we're just going to have to pass on them. And so we're seeing more and more of that. We don't have the librarians to fight for those titles because our teachers are the ones taking that on, and they're just too tired and underpaid.
Completely agree.
I'm also in North Carolina. I just wanted to add on to that. I would say less intense, but more basic is that I see a lot of turnaround in the librarians that we do still have. And so I can't maintain a relationship very easily. And that is a function of budget and their labor and what they're asked to do.
So this leads us into a really good segue into who then becomes your contact in the school. I want to just start with one lead thing about the administration. Whether they are your primary contact or not, you have to make sure that the administration is 100% on board with your school visit, your school book fair, whatever it may be. There is nothing worse that you've done all of your planning, but you never talk to the administration, and it all falls apart at the last minute because that one principal or vice principal just will not budge on things. Or you've invited an author who is bringing along a dog or a pet, and all of a sudden they will not allow any animal into the actual school. And there's like all these things that take place. So you really want to make sure that it's not just one contact, but that you have some sort of relationship with the administration. Would you both like to talk about who the contacts become for you?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So we've really turned to our local public library, which we're really lucky is just like 2 blocks away from us. And they love to interact with us and have us along for all their events that they have. We also have really had to start relying on PTAs, PTOs, and teachers themselves, as well as their unions. We've really been union focused with just different groups, not only teachers, but being in touch with these union organizations has been really beneficial for kind of infiltrating the system a little bit with people that we know want us there and want us to, interact with them in our community.
Yeah, and we've kind of started looking at who are the shareholders and stakeholders of our districts going into this fall, talking with our outgoing librarians this spring, even a month ago. Who's replacing you? Do you know yet? Who's the new contact for you? Updating our lists with who's the current principal, who's the current superintendent, who's the current board, who are these people over the entire district, so we can kind of work from a district level down and get the new placeholders throughout and hopefully get a little bit more district support, not just individual school support. We've also started getting a little creative with our contacts for maybe a theater that is on a district property. They are hosting some of our school visits. And so the theater manager, the theater director, they have direct contact with the district as a whole. They're now busing in full elementary schools, junior highs in the one district, and they are the ones talking to their board, and the theater is actually booking all of our visits and using theater money, not district money, to get around some of those blockades. And so kind of getting created with who we are talking to, getting the PTA involved as well. Also kind of going and looking at who's doing a lot of advocacy work in our area. Save Our Schools. We have a huge problem with private school vouchers and taking money from public schools. And so we are kind of getting creative with who, not just at a school level, but a district and maybe community-wide level.
I feel it's really important that you make a lot of these contacts in your actual bookstore, because you're not going to have the same opportunities going into the actual school trying to have the same type of conversations. So what is the experience for teachers or the people who make these decisions in the schools? What is their experience inside your bookstore? So we have a couple different ways that we actually do that. And I would actually like to open this up to hear how other people create these experiences for teachers in their communities as well. We have Saturday morning music. On pretty much 50 weeks of the year, we have free live music Saturday mornings. We get families, it's packed. It's just jam-packed with people because it's just about people being together, dancing. It is 0 to about 4 or 5. Now that seems like, well, that's not really school level. It is actually school level because they usually have older kids as well, but they're completely invested in the experience of their kids as they go to school. And they come every single Saturday. You begin to have a relationship with these parents. And the importance of that is when you have a whole community of parents who back you as a business, as a store, then they are there for you when you go to their school. So I always try to find out in my conversation with parents, what school are you at? Where are you? Oh, we do stuff with that school. You want to be able to have these contacts because sometimes those parents are the ones who are going to ultimately sway the administration or be able to get you the inroad into a school that you might have had situations or issues with, particularly if they are at private schools or at wealthier schools. It can make a big difference for that. The other is I'm curious about where you're creating educator nights and how that impacts your school visits. Does anyone want to talk about that or up here as well? how do your, yes, great.
Thanks. Hi. We do an educator appreciation night once a year. We were doing it at the end of the school year in June, but they're tired and underpaid. And so this year we're switching it to September, where they are back with energy and our lesson planning. And the other part of that is that fall is such a great time for new books that we can celebrate. So we do a lot with them. We usually have authors at that night. We have some giveaways from publishers. And we also are doing some programming for our local schools that we will introduce and share with them on that night. The other thing that we have that is not at all teacher related, but so many educators from our local schools show up to is we have a graphic novel festival once a year. It's our 5th year. It will be in May next year. And it's twofold. So many kids just coming in with their parents. It's definitely a community event. It's free for everyone. Authors are there. There's programming. It's just a day of absolute love and joy about all centered around graphic novels. And many of the graphic novelists that are at the festival on Saturday will do school visits on Friday. So it's a great way to share with our schools, hey, you can be a part of this, come on, have an author in, and then your kids can meet so many more the next day. It's just been really wonderful. And I love the fact that it's free. It takes nothing except transportation to get there. And the schools really, really look forward to the author lineup so that they can hopefully have an author in their school.
Preeti, we had one other response up here at the front. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be me because similar to Silver Unicorn, I'm at the Toadstool Bookshop. We're also in New England, and we do educator nights twice a year. We do line this up with a sale that we offer. We always offer our teachers and anybody who works directly in the classroom a discount during the year if they're buying for the classroom. If the kids are going to have the books in their hands, they get a discount. But twice a year in the fall and in the spring, we do a full week. And I always have a reception night kind of towards the middle or end of the week. We definitely have noticed that the fall one does have better attendance, again, because it's the beginning of the year. Budgets are, if they have budgets, they're more open then. But it's a similar thing. We have a lot of, giveaways. I stash my ARCs, while I'm here, and at any kind of regional event, like if there's stuff, I just stash that away. I do raffles. And so we have raffle tickets that then have name, email address, school that you're at. For a while we had, do you want to be on our teacher newsletter or upcoming thing? We did that for a while until we had to lose the newsletter. But that's also during that reception, I'm always there and I'm talking to people. We've also combined that with a rep night. So talk to your reps. They're almost always willing to come and they can talk about the new books that are coming out, and that will bring the crowd of teachers in to hear about the new books, hear about the authors that might be touring.
Yeah. So we have a regular newsletter mailing list, but we have a very specific school email list. And you really want to have, if you do not have a school email list, you need to get one right away with all of your teachers, administrators, parents who are involved in the organization, whoever it may be, because every time you're doing events, we don't just send out for one event, we send out for the season. These are all of the school visits that we actually have coming. We don't go directly to a school. We actually give them a whole, here's what's coming, this is what the requirements are going to be, this is what the minimums are going to be. And then we have a link that goes back to our website that allows them to they have to actually bid for it, and then what they can actually bring. And when we do that, we actually sometimes will have anywhere from, like 5 to 10 schools try for it. And there's more energy because if they don't make it, they really want to get one of the other events as well. So you open it up to everybody. How do you get teachers coming in keeping those contacts going.
Yeah, we do a educator night once a year in the fall. For us, it's July is fall for us. Our schools go back July 20th. So it's, that's fine. So we do end of July, first week of August is our educator nights. And we have 2 locations. So we do one at each location. And same thing as that was mentioned earlier, we collect publisher swag, ARCs, things like that throughout the year. That we offer to those teachers. It is also a larger discount. They get a year-round discount, but there is a steeper one for educator nights, as well as throughout the year at our used trade counter at our store. We take any of the books that we pass on for our store. If they choose to donate them, we pull any kids' titles and put them in a cabinet, box them up throughout the year. And teachers are on a rotating donation list. So if they have a book vending machine, if they are a new teacher, if they're an underfunded school, they can come in and shop the cabinet, take a box, build a box. They get a whole box of free, gently used books that they can have, free of charge throughout the year, as well as on educator night, we bring all of the books out of the cabinet and that have been stashed away in different corners of the building throughout the year. And almost everybody leaves with 1 to 3 boxes of free to them books to restock their classroom libraries. They don't have to announce those. They should, but they don't announce those so they can kind of get around that 90-day book review because they are their personal copies. And we, at that night, we update our lists for emails. What if people are moving to new districts? That's our night to really see everybody face to face, create those contacts again. Also have our information about our Authors in Schools program and some of the other things we do, the donations and things like that. We also have a Books for Teachers program that we created last year that is a donation based. It's almost like, when you are at PetSmart or something, and they're like, do you want to round up for $1 to go to this thing? But we asked, do you want to donate to Books for Teachers? And it is a slush fund that we have that is accessible to us to use for if a teacher is like, we have no money, we need a classroom set of this, or, hey, we just lost our librarian, but we really want to bring in this author. We can pull from Books for Teachers. And just opening up that to our customers last fall, we garnered over like $3,000 just in like a month to be able to do that, just from that rounding up at the registers. And it has been a huge increase of the teachers that we have seen asking for demand, and they're teachers in districts we didn't know were around us that didn't and have never reached out to us, got into that program, and now, with helping them out 1 or 2 times, are being able to ask for an author, being able to be a part of our other things, so they get into our program. Question over here. Thank you, Preeti.
My question is, how did you, did teachers have to apply to be in the program? Is it almost like a mini grant, or do they just call you and you're like, I need these books?
We have a list going as they email in, and then there's also teachers that walk in and they hear about it. So it's like, hey, email, get in on the list, and we kind of go by need and also first come, first serve. Yeah. And we keep track of which schools we're helping, so we're not helping the same school over and over and over again.
Cool. Okay.
Bonnie, did you want to add something?
Yeah, so we are going into our 3rd year, and we're all living in this post-COVID reality, and I feel like a lot of systems, structures, organization that existed kind of totally fell apart in Oregon, at least, or at least in our school district around COVID. So as we're kind of rebuilding these relationships, we're offering teachers and educators, and we really, that's an important distinction to us because we feel at the store that, educators also deserve a discount. So we offer 10% off of everything to teachers and educators. And that's not for everybody totally, but for our bottom line, it hasn't affected us too horribly, and it feels right. Something I wanted to say earlier was we really talk about the store in terms of being a values-based bookstore, which is, sorry to you, person. is something, because we're an indie, we can do that. We're not a corporation. We can decide what the rules are. So we offer that discount to teachers. We've also just kind of been developing those partnerships. What I've come to notice is that there are several really active PTA or PTO organizations that like really know how to kind of work the system, which amazing, happy for them. But I don't hear from schools that like really I know need the help. I'm also local from the area too, so that helps. And I have school age children, so a part of being a values-based bookstore is I get to talk about whatever I want when I'm at the register. So when teachers and parents come in, people that I know, people that I live in community with, we talk a lot about what's happening at schools, and I think we're all kind of trying to piece the puzzle together. And I think the talking about it is so important, and having those face-to-face conversations has been so vital to figuring out where the needs really are and where people need to focus. Because like these Moms for Liberty group, like they're flooding the zone. They know, like I don't know how they've organized so well, but like they have. And I think the rest of us, especially kind of in the Portland metro area, like everybody's a little scrambled, and Portland is not necessarily known for being an extremely kid-friendly city, but there's a lot of families, and there's more and more families showing up. So that conversation, human to human piece is like such a huge part in helping us organize ourselves. And that's a little off topic, but thank you for letting me.
No, that's okay, because it's going to be, I'm about to go into church soapbox time.
Let's
So
let's go.
This is my favorite when Brett does this. It's amazing.
We have a question up in the front.
go ahead and do your question, then I'll go.
I'm curious, how large are your school districts that you're referencing and everything? Because we're in Austin, and so it's not just Austin, but I've got Leander, Cedar Park, Round Rock, Pflugerville, all these other districts that I have access to. And what you're describing is amazing, but I can't support that because we're talking 5, 6, 7 major districts in one region. So it's like, are y'all like smaller districts? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just any recommendations for
our districts are huge.
Yeah.
We are basically, our 2 stores cover the entire Phoenix metro area. And we touch every side of the state. Getting the help of the district. That's why I was going through the superintendents and knowing who the boards are, because the Phoenix district, the Chandler district, Tempe, and Mesa basically cover the entire. We're the 5th largest metropolitan city in the country, and we covered those districts in that. So knowing the district level down, we don't know every school, we don't know every teacher, we don't know every individual person like that. That's why for us, it's easier to go district down than teacher up.
You can only do what you can do. So you have to give yourself the grace of just doing what you can accomplish. However, you have a lot of other bookstores in your community, and you can reach out to them and say, hey, we're not able to do all of this. Would you be interested in helping with this district? So, and especially if they're new stores, reach out and start to build those bonds between stores so that you can share some of that energy and work together and be able to know what works or what doesn't work for different school districts. That's really important. Okay, here's the soapbox part. Stop giving away your space. Stop allowing ignorant, asinine voices to be able to rule your community, rule your people, rule your life. Mm-hmm. I asked this question at a Kaliba regional conference. How many of you are actually celebrating America 250 in your stores? Right. Crickets. However, all of your stores from the front to the back have you don't need to order anything. You already have the absolute best representation of America 250 on your shelves right now. You are America 250. The only reason we're all crickets is because we're allowing other people to have the mic. Take the mic back. You have people in your community who love you. Yes, there's the loudest people and the jerks who come in and switch the books back and forth, but you they don't matter. It's just turning the book back, right? Get the mic back and let people know. It's very difficult, I know, as indies, because we're all so modest. We don't want to talk about what we do and all the, you need to talk about what you do, how you impact your community, why you're important, and why you need their support as much as the support that you give back to them. So give yourself the gift of using the mic and being able to make changes. Now, back really quickly to what we were just talking before, demonstrating value to schools. This is a nice segue. Go and look at the school calendars and look at when their in-services are. When are the teacher days where it's just teachers and it's not the parents? They're going to give you that calendar the year before. And then reach out and say, would you be interested in actually having a teacher in-service day at my bookstore? Or we would come to your school and do it, where we could talk to you about your curriculum and how we might be able to expand your curriculum. So if you're teaching Little House on the Prairie, are you also teaching Prairie Lotus by Linda Sue Park? If you're teaching Peter Pan, could you also teach Sisters of the Neversea by Cynthia Lettick Smith? So we know we have all of those things already sitting in our section. So one way is to actually look at that calendar, offer yourself up as an in-service for the schools. You build all these relationships with the teachers, and they understand the value of what you're about. So demonstrating value to schools.
I want to jump in on that.
Go, please.
One of the things that we've been doing for years, and I came on and it had already been existing, and is a school in our district, just a smaller district, is a smaller school. It's an arts school specifically. They host their Meet the Teacher nights in our school or in our store. So the last, towards the end of the school year, they have their Meet the Teacher night for the next year. And the teachers give us their summer required reading, their fall classroom reading, and their spring classroom reading lists for the next year. We order in those, have a book fair for their school while they meet the teacher. So they come, they meet their teacher for next year. They get to pick up their books for next year. And it's also our opportunity to talk to the parents at this school, talk to the teachers at this school, see what this school is teaching, see what books they are recommending, and also get to talk to those teachers at the end of the night. They're like, hey, I see you're teaching this. Here are some other things that maybe go along with that. Here are some other things to maybe update that. And we've been doing it enough now, and for I don't know, going on 8-9 years now, it feels like that we know a lot of these teachers. We know a lot of these parents. They're in walking distance to our Phoenix location, and we are now ingrained as part of their tradition. That's something that you offer that Amazon doesn't offer, BNN doesn't offer. That's something only an indie can offer. We don't have to be in schools to support a school. You can bring their calendar into your stores in a way that only indies can offer. Get creative with how you are reaching out. Get creative. We host plays, like the schools, junior high schools bring in their theater department as a trial run, and they host their 3-minute sing-along in our store. And it's a book fair that any of the shopping proceeds go to that theater department. That's not a librarian. That's not a teacher. That's the theater kids and the theater department, but they are now part of our year-round rotation, and that school is with us in a way that we wouldn't have expected or thought of. You have creative partnerships, you have creative parents, you have creative educators. Find ways to meet them where they're at.
Bonnie, do you want to talk about teacher discounts?
Yeah, I kind of went off on my values-based, my values-based soapbox. But yes, we offer discount, we offer a 10% discount to all teachers and educators, which I mentioned. But something we also offer is in-store book fairs. In our district, they've decided that no school book fairs are happening at all ever in the name of equity. And I've seen that in a lot of different ways with the school district. As I said, I have 3 children in this school district, so I feel very in touch with it in multiple ways. But there's been a lot of change in the name of equitability that really has made it extremely inequitable for everyone. It's kind of like we're not going to celebrate anything because we don't want to leave anyone out, but then we're not celebrating anything and we're not offering anything extra. We're just here for the school day and that's it. So that's been a thing. And how we've gotten around that is school book fairs that we mainly put on with organizations and the PTAs mainly, and that's a give back to them. So any shopping that happens on their behalf during that day, they get that back, I think in 20%, which is huge, but it feels worth it to us to make sure those families can give back to their schools in that way. And the schools can either use that, those funds to buy more books for their schools or like sets of OBA or Battle of the Books sets and things like that. And there was something else I was going to say, but I can't quite remember. It'll come back to me. Yeah.
So school discounts for us, we do 10% under $100. Over $100, we do 20%. If the books are being purchased for the school itself. When we do school visits, now this is another soapbox thing. We do school visits where we're actually taking an author and we're offering parents the opportunity to buy books for their students. We do no discount whatsoever. If you're doing discounts for parents when they're buying books, you're throwing away money that should be coming to you as a bookstore. So when you stop doing that, they're still going to order the books, they're still going to buy the books, and you're getting that money back. There's no reason you should be giving discounts to parents. But if the schools, that's a completely different thing when you're doing that. The other thing that's really important is that 20% discount is 100% competitive with what they would be getting if they were actually to go shop with Voldemort and do all of that. But what they're getting when they do it with you is they're getting curriculum, they're getting curation that you would never get that with anybody else, big box stores or anything else. So if you can match that discount, that's a really big thing. And I know we have a question. We're going to go to that. I have one right back here, Preeti. But I wanted to say one other thing. Every year, from about April to June, you have an opportunity where school districts and classrooms have money that they have been sitting on and they haven't spent it and they're too busy with testing and everything else like that. And they have money to be able to spend. And frequently, I would say over 50% of that money just ends up disappearing because they did not spend it. And it does not roll over. And you should know and reach out in a letter right after the spring holidays. If you have money to be able to spend and you need to spend it by the end of the school year, we're here for you. We will help you tell us what you need. We will help curate the whole collection and get you books. And all of a sudden, when it's getting to the end of the school year and you're worried about where your money's going to come in from, you've all got this like surge of money to get you through summer. Yes.
Well, now I have two questions. The first is, when you say letter, do you mean a letter or do you mean an email for that?
Email. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm old.
No, that's okay. Me too. So I pictured a letter.
No, it's
in the
hard.
mail.
I know. I mean, I will tell you though, I do actually send notes and cards and physical letters to teachers that I really have good relationships with beyond an email. That's actually something that I like to be able to do. I also send the physical galleys when they come to me that I really love, that I think is perfect for a school. I send it to the teacher in advance of summertime so that they can actually have it all summer long. That is one of the best uses of your galleys that you could ever do, is getting them in teachers' hands, especially if you love the book.
My original question was, when you are doing the 20% for over $100, like essentially a bulk purchase, do you have payment specifications for that? Is it check only or funds transfer, or do you allow payment by card?
We do allow payment by card because we're in Los Angeles, and the idea of anybody having anything other than a card to be able to pay with would never happen. So, I mean, however, we can arrange frequently with the schools. It's almost always going to be specifically through that end money is going to be through a PO of some sort. So it'll eventually end up being a check anyway. Or nowadays it's direct deposit to your bank. So you should all have it set up where schools can send you money directly to your bank. Yeah. Anything to add?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, sorry.
Are any of you running a literacy nonprofit in parallel with your store? And is the Books for Teachers program a nonprofit piece to the business, or is it just a piece of the business?
Yeah, it is not a nonprofit. My dream is to have a nonprofit. I am very annoying to our owners that I'm constantly like, hello, hi, I would like to open a nonprofit, please. But no, Books for Teachers is not a nonprofit. It is just kind of a side piece. We sat and looked at the program, and it is a program. It's almost functionally, it is a gift card that we reload with the donations, and it's kind of just a separate little holding space. That is like how our lawyer approved this getting built.
We do have a literary nonprofit that was started with when James Patterson was giving the grants to the stores. We used ours to start our Readers and Writers Rock nonprofit. It is run by our emeritus owner who runs that program. In conjunction, we have a couple different aspects of that. We have a children's book recycling center. We have a garage separate from our actual store that's behind us off the alleyway that is built like a bookstore or a library. Foster programs, Title I schools, teachers can come in and be able to get 1 to 2 boxes full of books. All of our community bring us books all the time. Like they bring us gently used books that we can utilize to be able to have that. You don't need a nonprofit to do that, by the way. But for those people who want a donation thing for their taxes, it's good to be able to have that set up that way. And also you have other community partners who can run the book drive for you to be able to get those books, to be able to serve out into the community as well. You don't need to do that. You can actually have we have high schoolers who are part of the Key Club or other organizations like that who run the book drive, and they are really great for being able to curate the titles that come in and knowing what works or what doesn't work. There are a lot of ways to be able to do that. And then we take authors, particularly authors of BIPOC authors, into Title I schools within our community where they are all getting a free book. We give out probably, I would say, close to 20,000 books a year that way. That's through the nonprofit, but the books are sold through the store. So it can be grant money, it can be community money, it can be private donors. We work with a lot of corporations, so we have an ask. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. Nobody knows what you're doing unless you tell them what you're doing. So if they say no, walk to somebody else, and then you can go back to them. I'm just going to ask again. Sometimes they'll find the one that's the right fit too.
Something I just want to say here is like capacity, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like we all have different staffing levels. Our store has like 3 dedicated people, like 2.5 really. And so we can only do what we can do. We partner with local organizations that are already doing this literacy work in our communities. We give all of our used books that are maybe not going to work for the store so much. We'll give them to a partner organization that runs their own little bookstore to get new books into the hands of readers throughout our school district. And I did want to back up to your question because I thought that was so good about like, there's so many, oh my gosh, okay, I got to stop talking with my hands. There's so many different school districts that's too big a service area for you. We've actually also had that problem where we had so many people asking for donations. Can you donate to our raffle? Can you donate to this? And we had to kind of scale back and say, here are our actual boundaries in school district. Like we can't serve everybody. And that's kind of where our in-store book fair idea came from, was because everybody just wanted like a raffle prize, and we can't just be giving like $50 gift cards like again and again and again and again and not really seeing any impact there. We don't know if those people ever come in or if they lose the gift card, things like that. So anyways, all that to say, we don't have the capacity to be seeking grants or, doing kind of a robust program on the side of our business. So we rely on other organizations to kind of make that happen in partnership with them. And it creates a lot of goodwill, and it creates also more of a sense of community because we're all kind of working towards the same goal in our own ways. So I do recommend looking at start making your reader today, your SMART programs, any programs that are around you where you guys can work in tandem to bolster just making sure that readers are getting books, young children are getting books. Highly recommend.
Go ahead. Go ahead, and then I'm going to talk about wish list, because I know that was on your list.
I want to talk about wish lists. I want to talk about events too. I just wanted to quickly echo that, because I know whenever we do these conferences, there's a plethora of different people in the room, big stores, small stores, pop-ups, mobile. Take from these panels whatever you can. Don't try and graft, a store model that doesn't work for you onto your business. These panels are filled with different stores of different sizes for this reason. That everybody can kind of, big stores can take something, medium-sized stores. So I just wanted to put that aside in there, that especially for people that this is your first institute, take what you can, leave what doesn't fit for you.
So we use classroom wish lists. Now, I will tell you this with 2.0, I'm assuming most of you are on 2.0. It is really hard for a teacher or someone to come in and figure out exactly what to do with the wish list, because there's not a lot of explanation on the website about how that actually happens. So most of the time I'm actually creating these wish lists for them and then having a link that I send to them that they can give to their parents. We do this in after Thanksgiving through New Year, when people are in the giving mode. Teachers send me the list of books that they're interested in for their classroom. They can use our website. Frequently, they are doing Voldemort's site to be able to get the list of books. And I know it can be very upsetting. Just let it go. Just let it go, and then find the titles. Once we've got the titles down, we usually limit it to about anywhere from 12 to 20, depending on what they're asking for. If they're asking for a series, we try to get a box set, so that you're not having to put all of the series on there. Once I have all of the teachers, you can see this as an example. I've made it says Brentwood Lower School Classroom Wish List. Click on any teacher name to view their book wish list and purchase a copy for their classroom. Once you've purchased the book, it will be removed from the wish list. Please choose coordinated school pickup for the Brentwood School classroom orders, and we will make sure that the teachers receive all of their books. There's no shipping at all. And then each of those is the actual list for teachers for kindergarten, first grade, all the way up through fifth grade for this particular school. That's what we do. We have a ton of books that get sold this way every single holiday period. It's an easy thing to be able to do. We gather all of the books, and then I have them separated out by the teachers with cardboard in between. Thank you, Ingram, for your little cardboard that fits in the box perfectly. And then the teachers come and pick it up. So school visits and for classroom wish lists, I never go to the school. Mm-hmm. Teachers, and sometimes even the authors, will come and pick up everything that I have organized or created, because we just don't have the infrastructure or the staffing to be able to do it. It's just really, really difficult. So there are ways to be able to do that, and I'm happy to talk to anybody if you have questions about that.
I know we're running up on time. I also want to mention, if you have Book Manager, I don't have 2.0, but I do have Book Manager. Book Manager has a very robust registries and wish list feature. If you're not using it, you should be using it because it's great. Yeah.
Indie Commerce 2.0, yes. Is that how many people are on Indie Commerce 2.0? Yeah, but not everybody has Indie Commerce. That's why I was,
Creepy.
But we are excited that everybody, but if you did not know, 1.0 does not exist anymore.
Gone.
Bye.
Gone.
I want to use that to piggyback. Oh, we have one more. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment. I'm in a tourist town, and we do something very similar to Brain, but it's physically on our counter at the store. And we have left it up after the holidays. And the tourists, when they come to the register, when they see that, they'll buy books for our local schools. So if you're in a tourist town, it's a way for tourists to come in and support your community.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. I just want to, are we?
Yeah, go ahead. Wherever you want to go. We're at the tail end of it. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about branching off of Brent's comment about teachers picking up books for their authors' visits. We also don't send staff to our school visits for authors. We don't have the staffing to support that. We do over 300 events a year. If we add on authors in schools, that would just be a nightmare for staffing fees. So we do have the teachers or librarian, whoever we are working with, to set up that school visit. When we order the books in, they come pick up the books for those visits, and they disperse them in their school no matter what. So they do, when we book a school visit, they do our minimum bulk buy, whether that's the publisher set one or we have a store set one, which is 30 copies. And those teachers are then, that bulk buy is theirs to distribute, whether they took orders from parents. We never take the money from parents. That's just complicated. And we didn't want to do that. And the teachers are much better at it. They know their parents, they know their students, they organize all that money. I didn't want random cash or cards or random stuff to keep track of. It's just cleaner that way, which is where, part of this panel is where we're running into challenges for this fall, is that those librarians and teachers that have always facilitated those are leaving. And so we are looking at ways, which is why I was so excited for this panel to hear from Bren. We are looking at ways to kind of fill in that gap of the one-on-one teacher to the parents model. And I just wanted to kind of say, we don't have a good solution for that yet, because it is an ongoing problem that we are looking at for this fall. But let the teacher or the parents are now knowing their librarians and their PTO people are, leaving. The PTO is looking at, hey, how do we keep these going? We want to keep bringing authors. We want to keep taking orders. And it's led to some very interesting conversations with the PTO, letting us know there's more stuff happening in their schools that we didn't know of. The principals getting involved. I think somebody mentioned that earlier. I just wanted to acknowledge that in this changing landscape, we've been doing this way for years. And now we are looking at a unknown fall for our authors in schools program. And we're also seeing that publishers are sending less authors because they know schools are having these challenges. And we were struggling to hit a publisher bulk buy. You can always push back on that and be like, hey, we don't have schools that can fit that. Can we just do this instead? Can we do backlist? Can we not hit your minimums? You can push back on publishers. Just know that. If you're a publisher in here, sorry. But we are finding creative ways to keep bringing authors into our schools so these kids aren't missing out on that. And it just takes a little bit more time, and it's an experiment all around.
Yeah, in relation to the publisher part of it too, in that conversation with the librarians yesterday for 12 to 15-year-old books, that's an entirely changeable. You can make that happen, but we are the ones who are going to change it with publishers. I'll be honest with you. If we want that to change, we can make it change. We were told forever that we couldn't get paperback originals, and we have paperback originals, and you have to buy them, by the way, just make sure that they stick around. And so those things are really, really important. And we'll start taking questions. Oh, yes. And one quick thing. This is actually a school visit that we did with Drew Daywalt. What's important about this is this was actually a very wealthy school that we were going with, but they were kind enough to allow us to invite a Title I school to be able to come in. The Title I school students all got free books with the Drew Daywalt experience, but they also got to have a great time. And they were completely mixed in the crowd when they went, and it was a really, really incredible experience. That is something else you can do, is have one of your wealthier schools partner with a Title I school. Yes?
We're fortunate enough at Annie Bloom's to have maybe a half dozen authors who do local school visits, not publisher-supported, local school districts every single year. And so for them, we've built them a page on our website, not a public-facing page, but a private page on their website just to order their books, so that when they do a school visit, they send that link to the school. It goes out in the school newsletter. They come in from that link, order those books. The author then will sometimes they'll do it for a remote thing that they're doing a virtual school visit with. They'll sign all the books and we will ship them. If it's a huge order, might drop ship a school-wide set of those books, and then the author signs book plates here and mails them, or they just drive the books to wherever in Oregon they're going for the book visit. But it's a relatively small investment in our time to build that page. We can do it for pre-order campaigns. And so now part of what I do as their author bookseller is when I know a new author, a debuting author in my state, I'm like, do you have a home bookstore? Who is your home bookstore? You should form a relationship, because authors are totally flummoxed by the pre-order expectation that we would know how to do this. But that same thing, building that page for that local author who's going to be there always, makes it so much easier for them to manage that pre-order expectation from their publisher that they just expect but don't tell you how to do. And then you've got, if they're also a school visiting author, you have that ongoing thing that ends up to be hundreds and hundreds of books a year. So if you happen to have those local authors, I think it's worth developing those relationships over time.
100%, Roseanne. That is like such an awesome thing. But I will say one thing. Make sure for our logistics for that, they have to be on Ingram for us to be able to have access with a wholesale discount that hits our discount, and they need to be returnable.
Fully returnable.
Which is really important. But also, I don't care. I know, soapbox thing again. We do not have the ability to deal with all of the self-published authors that are sending us emails every single day. You think you're through with them, and then you wake up and there's 350 more emails inside your email thing.
It's bleak, folks.
Talking about how wonderful and great you are and how this is the perfect home for their book. And then you click on it and you're like, oh God, how am I going to have this conversation?
So much AI.
So much AI.
So much AI. The Flamingo
Build
AI.
yourself a draft.
Did you see the Flamingo AI? They came to you too?
Build yourself a draft that you have already ready to go to be able to communicate with that really, really quickly.
Candy mill.
And I will tell you, I'm going to give you my secret of how I actually do it. We require, one, the Ingram aspect of things that I just mentioned, two to three starred reviews from Kirkus, School Library Journal, or PW, or a like-minded peer organization. Not a review, Kirkus, not a paid review. A starred review, and I need 2 to 3. Is that true? No, but it is a great way to just put it out, and then you don't have to deal with it.
Mind blown. I'm learning things too. I'm taking notes too.
Oh, I've been taking notes this entire time. In my brain, I don't have a pen.
While we go to the next person, I just want to say really quickly, if you're thinking about how can I make relationships with the schools around me or the teachers around me or the librarians around me, we all just got so many free books that we don't probably have like a purpose for every single one. I take those finished books that are signed to the library, to the librarians, and say, hey, could you use these? They're always so excited. And these kids deserve to see a freshly signed copy that is just special for them in their library. So that is a great way to just open that door. Nothing may come of it, but at least you know they have one more great book.
Yeah, I hoard those for our educator night. And yeah, they're my favorite things, especially for the librarians and teachers that we like partner with. And when we get to see them, it's a special touch for them to know that, hey, even when we were out of the state, here is this like fun little thing.
And the authors love it too.
This might be a big question for like 90 seconds left in the panel. But has anyone had any luck with starting at the headwaters of things and going to the school district itself and trying to get them to prioritize local spending when they can spend their super tiny budgets, or state legislatures, things like that, to try and prioritize education, reading, et cetera, from local businesses?
School districts actually that's where the money's coming from. I mean, school districts are actually the ones with the money, and frequently they have programs already set up for you to be able to bring authors into their community schools, particularly, again, underserved book deserts or Title I communities. That is really, really important. One thing real quick, and then I'll let you, if you want to talk about that as well, just the school visit experience. If you are still allowing signing to happen in person with the students, stop it.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
This is
I won't do that.
No child should ever have an experience that is related to their parents' ability to be able to purchase them a book for an actual visit. The visit should be open and accessible to every single student, have the same experience, and those purchased books should be delivered to their classroom after the visit has taken place, not even in the section. So if you're not doing that, you need to switch it up and do that immediately, because you cannot understand how deeply traumatizing it can be for a child that's internalized, that they're not even going to talk about, that they can't have a book because they cannot afford it.
And
Book plates.
Yeah, book plates are great.
Authors love book plates, and they're always happy to sign them. And that's a way that every child can get a little something if we didn't get a book for every child.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say, as far as like the legislation stuff and going to like, be involved in your community, know what legislation is happening, know what's happening on your school boards, interact when you can. We have tablers outside of our store that, on a rotating basis are Save Our Schools out there, getting signatures, informing our community about the public school vouchers, about book bans. Like Brent said earlier, like the stores are our space. They are your space to do with that you wish. Like, invite people in that are talking about the stuff in your community. Have tablers outside. You are the place that you can do that. And they are better at, we have ACLU out there. We have people that know it, that can.
We're at the very end, so we're not going to be able to take any more questions, but we're happy to talk to people and then communicate. Everybody, make sure you get contacts with everybody. Yeah. Hope you had a really great time. And most important, claim your space and your mic.
Feel free to leave us a review.
Yeah. Review us in the session survey, please, and thank you.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA site at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!